We are live, everyone, and welcome to the Holland's Home Team 10 Steps to Home Buying. We're going to be getting started shortly, so sit back and enjoy.
Get started. Appreciate everybody showing up. Thank you again. Thank you for Holland from our home team. We also have Cassidy here. She's one of my team members.
You know who signed
Yeah. Let me know. Cassidy Stringer, she's one of the teammates here. We also have Jennifer. She's going to be talking to you about mortgage and how to get ready to buy a home. We have Peter Newman here. He's going to be talking to you about inspections, how important they are, and the whole process as far as inspections. And at the end of the day, we want to have Tia here. She's talking about life insurance. So again, we got a couple slides. We do have about 45 minutes to an hour. But again, we won't be on stay on time. I know you're going to keep them on track. But we do have food. We have drinks here. If you need something else, these ball means we're going to grab it. The bathrooms are right here to the left, your right. What else? We also have, it's being recorded. We are on YouTube Live, so we'll be taking questions from y'all and also the audience on YouTube also. So let's get right into it. Now, I know part of me, when I'm briefing, I like the interaction, so if you have a question, please let me know. We'll talk about it right there and try to come closer. We'll get right into it. Next slide. So this is agenda today. I'm going to talk about the current market, buyer's market versus seller's market. We're just going to talk about applying for the loan. I'm going to come back here and talk about the home buying process. Peter's going to talk about inspection. And I got two programs to show you: Home Heroes program and Atlantis program. Next. Buyer's market versus seller's market. I know at the beginning of the year, everybody's seen how crazy the market was, how overbid, well not overbid, overpriced, $10,000 over asking price and stuff like that. That was at the beginning of the year. That market was we got out of that market. It's shifting back to a normal market now. A lot of things we're seeing right now. We're seeing a lot longer days on market. We're seeing the prices come down. Sellers are back to giving buyers a little bit more things as far as contracts and negotiations. So that's the big shift that has happened in the market. Let's talk about some reasons for that. Go back to the beginning. We'll talk about what caused that kind of high price and crazy market. Interest rates. Interest rates were down. Interest rates were low. So that caused a lot of people coming into the market, a lot of new buyers coming into the market. Getting loans, prime loans, getting loans, and coming into the market, and it flooded an already low inventory market. That caused the skyrocketing prices. That caused $10,000 over asking price. That caused, I know when I was taking buyers out, we were maybe 10 of 20 offers on one home, all that stuff. But like I said, we're out of that market right now, and we're back to a more normal market. And the reason for that is interest rates again. Interest rates slowly creep up, and that will a little bit more restrictions as far as people getting loans, being able to afford the house they want. But that causes a lot of buyers. It's slowing the buyers coming into the market. So it's kind of correcting itself. But even though it's starting to correct itself, we're still in the seller's market. We're still in the seller's market because of low inventory. And like I said, buyer's market side, demand is lower, inventory is higher, long listing time, fewer offers, and price reductions. In the seller's market, the higher demand, low inventory, short list time, multiple offers, homes above selling price, and list price. That's what we've been seeing at the beginning of the year. Like I said, everything has shifted back to a normal market. So buyers, I'm going to say we're in a small window, but it's still good for buyers, and it's still good for buyers because of low interest rates. Low interest rates, I think it's the average. Well, generally, we're definitely going to get on that. But still have historically low interest rates right now, which is a good time for buyers to still come to the market, even though it's not a flood of new buyers coming in like it was before. So I just want to hit real quick as far as current status of the market, where we are, market shift, and I gave you a couple of reasons as to why also. But Jennifer, she's about to come up next and definitely get more detail into it. So definitely, if you have any mortgage questions, application questions, just manage your time to ask.
All right, how y'all doing? Y'all feel good today?
Yes.
Awesome. So we're gonna jump right into it. My goal, our goal is to make you homeowners. Has anyone ever bought a house before? So you guys are renting? Everybody's just renting right now? Okay, we're gonna change that. Keep going. Yeah, okay, keep going. Okay, so here are the benefits to becoming a homeowner. I know you've heard a lot of things out in the social media, in the community, where people are saying, it's not a good time to buy right now because the rates are high and this and that. But just like Damon said, it's really a great time to buy. You just have to be educated and you have to know what you're doing. And you also have to be strategic in this market. It's a great time to buy. So here are the 4 benefits that we have going on as far as home ownership. My favorite one, tax benefits. Who loves tax time? When your taxes come, you like to get that extra money, so you can't get that extra money if you renting. So if you become, I hear you. So if you become a homeowner, this allows you to deduct mortgage interest and property taxes for your income. So that's one good thing. I like extra money. I know we all like extra money, so that's a good benefit. Also, if you're renting, keep in mind, in the back of your head, no matter where you live at, you're going to pay somebody mortgage. If you live with family, unless they let you live there for free, you're going to give them money towards their mortgage. So why not use your money for your own mortgage, right? And then there's also landlord controls and repairs. I know everybody likes to be creative. You like that, the gray color or the white color on the walls. You can't do that when you're renting. So when you have your own house, you can make it your own. And then also, when you're renting, who's tired of the rents going up? Every year, the rent going up, you don't even understand why, because they ain't making no changes. So, but it's still going up. So at least when you become a homeowner, you don't have to worry about that mortgage payment going up. Of course, you may have issues with taxes or insurance. Sometimes they go up depending on what county you're in. But as far as your principal and your interest payment, it is what it is the day you sign that contract. So those are the 4 benefits. Any questions on that? All right, keep going. Okay, who in here does not know how to budget? Anybody here does not know how to budget? I'll see you
I
guys.
know, but I just don't do it.
Okay, well,
Somebody will be on.
yeah, I like honesty. Let's be transparent. We're all family here, right? So when it comes to budgeting, that is a major point of just getting yourself ready mentally as well as physically. I don't know who are all spiritual. I'm a very spiritual person. I'm back at 2 and 2. I can vision, make it plain. Same thing with home ownership. Same thing when you're trying to buy a car, or if you have kids, or you have to schedule things out to make sure that your day goes smooth, right? Same thing with home ownership. Budgeting is very important. Knowing what your money is doing. I was always taught your money should never tell you what to do. You have to tell your money what to do. You're in control. So when you get that paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, monthly, however you get paid, it's better for you to write a plan. Okay, I gotta pay this amount goes to that. So budgeting is very, very important. And for those who do not know how to budget or don't know how to budget very well, see me after class. I can definitely help you with that. Okay? So we'll keep moving. Same thing I just said. You gotta know, you have to budget so that you can know how much you can afford. Okay? A big question that a lot of people ask is, well, how much house are you looking for as far as sales prices are concerned, right? And a lot of times that can be a very tough question because in this market, houses are not what they used to be, 10 years ago when you could get a nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath for like $230. Now that same house is in the 300s. So I like to ask people, what's a good monthly payment? Because that makes more sense, especially if you're renting. If you're renting and your rent is $1,500 and that's comfortable to you, and maybe you can go maybe $200 or $300 more, then that's a better question to ask versus like, well, how much sales price? You don't know. You know what I mean? Unless you've been looking on Zillow or whatever else you've been looking on. So budgeting is very important, and then also knowing how much you can afford. currently spending on your house, different things like that, knowing your water bill, your cable bill, all your different bills. All of that is really big into budgeting, okay? Any questions so far? We still good? We good? Okay. Okay. Okay, so here's tips of getting started. When you are serious about becoming a homeowner, you have to know what your credit looks like. That's like the first question we ask. When's the last time you checked your credit? Oh, it's been a year, 2 years. Where are you checking your credit at? Credit Karma. For those who have the Credit Karma app, delete it right now. It's not, it's awful. It is so awful. I always say, if you want to know an answer, go straight to the horse. So go to the credit bureaus. You may have to pay a couple dollars to get it, but at least you'll know concrete where you stand. Or if you have like a credit card through one of like your major banks, you can, a lot of them have the opportunity where you can check your credit score on that too. So credit score and knowing your credit report is very, very important. If you have errors on your credit report, go ahead and get that handled before you even talk to any lender. Because one thing I can tell you, when you go through the process, underwriters, which are the people that make the actual decisions for your loan, they do not like disputes. And a lot of times you have disputes on your credit report because, oh, this ain't me or this ain't right. So you definitely want to take care of that ahead of time. Just go ahead and take care of that. So when I run that credit report, we don't have no issues or no conversations about disputes. We already took care of that. Okay. Exploring your down payment options. So if you are short on, money to purchase a house, number one question I get to all the time is, can I get the house for free? Can I put the down payment into the loan? No, unfortunately not. When you're purchasing a house, you have to have money up front. And that includes for your down payment and for your closing costs. Is there anybody that doesn't understand what down payment is? Everybody got understand what down payment is? Cool. I don't want to talk too much because I feel like I'm losing my voice too. But just let me know if you have any questions. So down payment options, as far as right now in this market, because the market is so volatile, the only down payment option we do have right now is South Carolina housing. Has anyone heard of South Carolina housing before? You have? Okay. Anyone not heard of South Carolina housing before? Everybody's know that? Okay. Good. So South Carolina housing is definitely an option that you can do when it comes to down payment assistance. Right now, there's two options. There's an $8,000 option, and then there's a 3% option, because the 4 or 5% is already gone. Next is getting pre-approved, which is basically what we're here to do. That's when you basically do an application, give me all your information, and I put it in the computer, and it'll tell me where you stand as far as, if you're really ready to buy or if there's some work that we have to do. And of course, once you get pre-approved, hire David over here, he got you. Take you out shopping and go look for those houses and different things like that. Just keep in mind, always know what you qualify for. The best way to buy a house is to prepare yourself. You have to be prepared. You have to have the education. You have to budget. You have to know, what's out there. We can talk about interest rates and all that as well. Okay. We can just get that. Very, very easy step. Once you get your education, you get pre-approved, holla at Damon, start shopping. You want to stay pre-approved. What that means is, I just gave y'all a sheet a little earlier that I think it's the second sheet that says your do's and your don'ts. Don't go out there and buy another car. Don't go out there and switch jobs while we're going through the pre-approval. Keep everything just like it is. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You saying don't do a better job, but what if that means a better job, more money?
Always talk to your loan officer before you do it. Always talk to your loan officer. Anything that you do when you're in the process of purchasing, always make a phone call or send a text. Hey, Jen, I'm about to make this move. Is this okay? Because what happens is if you don't, and then we find out later on the line, there's people that have actually weren't able to go to closing. Like you got your house, you're under contract, you got to close in like a week or two, then all of a sudden your car breaks down, so you go to, Toyota or Ford and buy yourself a new car. That's a no-no. They can literally tell you, sorry, I actually had an example where we were at the closing table and they found out that the young guy had opened up a new retail credit card. We could not close. Day of closing, he could not get his keys. So it is very imperative when you get that pre-approval and you start shopping for that house, and he writes up that contract for you, keep everything the same. Keep paying your bills on time. Don't take out no new or unnecessary credit, basically. Basically, don't have anybody run your credit. If it involves them, if it involves you asking them or them asking you for a social so that they can check your credit and run your credit, say no thank you, give me a couple days, I'm going through the process of purchasing a house. Once you get your keys, I don't care what you do. Go buy that new furniture, go buy that new car, do whatever you gotta do after we close. Don't do anything new. And if you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I should do this, one call, that's all. One call. Pretty easy. And then after that, you get your keys and you're home. So it's a pretty simple process when you're going through the process. The hard part or the part that takes a lot of work is preparation, which is what you guys are doing now. So here's my favorite part. This is what I like to talk about. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of the pre-approval, okay? So here's things that we look for. When you do that application, we're checking for your debt-to-income ratio. Has anyone heard of debt-to-income ratio before? So that's basically where we look at how much debt you have versus how much money you're making. And I'm not talking about your cell phone bill or how much you have to pay for your power and things like that. I'm talking about debt that's on your credit report. So car payments, student loans, anything that you have that involves an actual loan, that's the debt that we're talking about, okay? So depending on what program you decide to do, whether you want to do conventional, FHA, we can get into that later. There's a certain debt to income ratio that you have to meet. And if you're over that, then we either need to work on getting some of those debts paid down, or you may have a co-borrower that you could use to add a little bit of income. Caveat to that is, if you do need a co-borrower because you need a little bit more income, make sure you choose somebody that's got decent credit, and make sure you choose somebody that's making a good bit of money and they don't have a whole lot of debt. Otherwise, we're back to where we started. Any questions on that? Okay. We already talked about down payment. We already talked about credit history. Assets. Assets is another important thing that we need, that you have to put on your application. Save. I can say that 100 times and still not say it enough. When it comes to purchasing a home, you need to make sure that you have money saved up. Nowadays, most people's closing costs are getting close to 20 grand, even higher. It just depends on the sales price, the interest rates, all that kind of stuff. So when you walk into the plan of, yes, I'm serious and I'm ready to become a homeowner, make sure that you know in your mind where that down payment and that closing cost is coming from. Down payment assistance, you only get $8,000. So if you come into the table with only 2 or 3 grand, that ain't really gonna work. So you can use 401k for those who do have it. If you're a state employee, 9 times out of 10, you can't really use your 401k. But if you do have a 401k, it's always good to know how much you have in there and how much you can use. So if you got 20,000 sitting in your 401k, you need to find out how much of that can I use, because a lot of times you can't use the whole amount. They may say you can use 30% or 40%. So it's always good to know that too when you're coming to speak with a lender. Yep, I got 401k, this is how much I got, and this is how much I can use. It's called terms of withdrawal, and that's going to be a document that I'll ask for when you have to send your other documents. We'll get to that in a second. And then as far as employment history, everybody been working for at least 2 years? 5? Okay. As long as you've been working for at least 2 years, you're good, whether it's self-employment or you got a W-2. The thing about that can mess you up is, let's say you worked at Lowe's for a year, and then you decided to become a truck driver. And now you're not a W-2 employee anymore, you're a 1099 employee. Now it's like, now we got a little issue. Because now you switch from a W-2 person to a 1099. And there's certain ways to get around that, but just to keep a plain level field, just keep in mind, that's why I said it's very imperative not to get so jumpy with, switching jobs and stuff, unless you're gonna continue to be that W-2 employee, or if you're already a 1099 and you stay 1099, then you're fine, okay? And then, of course, financial history, seeing that you have bankruptcies, foreclosures, a lot of those can kind of put little, throw little issues into the pile, but there's always ways to work around that as well. Anybody had any bankruptcies or foreclosures? Oh, we're good. Okay. All right, so here are the documents that you need when you're applying for a loan. So again, fill out that application with all your information. The things I'm gonna ask you for is 30 days worth of pay stubs. Everybody can get that online nowadays. So you just upload that into an email. You also have, for our system, we have a way that you can do that. That's pretty easy, sending me all those documents. If you are self-employed, that's where the 1099 comes from. And then, of course, if you're a W-2 employee, you would send me your 2 years of W-2. Federal income taxes, that's definitely something that we'll need. And then, of course, you gotta send us your ID and things like that. If you're doing a VA loan, is there any veterans in here? No? Okay. So if you had to do a VA loan, then you need to do 214, since you don't have that. Anybody retired? Nobody's retired? Okay, well, if you were, we would just need your letter, your award letter for Social Security, pension, things like that. Anybody receiving child support? Nope, that's good. No bankruptcies, no foreclosures. If you owe the IRS, we just need a copy of that plan. We need a copy of that plan that shows how much you're paying them, because we have to add that to, can anybody guess? There you go, the debt to income ratio. So that's good. Okay, next slide. All right, and so here's where we get into the different plans that we have. So depending on your credit score, we can put you into different plans. Conventional loans, my personal favorite, just because once you put 20% down, has anybody ever heard of the mortgage insurance that comes with a mortgage payment?
Yeah.
So there's a few things that make up your mortgage payment. And it's a little different from if you're paying rent, because all you do is pay rent and that's it. But your mortgage payment makes up the principal, the interest, just like if you bought a car, you have principal and interest on your car. And then also taxes and insurance for that property. And then something that's called mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is for the lender. It's what protects the lender. So when you have a conventional loan or even an FHA loan, which is a government loan, there's always some kind of mortgage insurance that goes into that payment. But with a conventional loan, once you get to 20% down, like you put in 20% of your money into the home, it goes away automatically. Whereas for FHA, it's going to stay on there until you refinance. So a lot of people, that's why people end up refinancing when they go FHA, they refinance into a conventional loan. But you see how your score has to be a little higher in order for you to qualify for a conventional loan. So that's another reason as to why you want to make sure that you're working on your credit, if that's what you need to do. Or if you have a good credit score, maintain that credit score. FHA loan, nothing wrong with the loan, it's just a government loan. Most people will refinance into a conventional, and then you're fine there. I know we don't have any veterans here, is there a better VA loan?
We do.
You do?
They do.
There's someone on there, okay. So 580 credit score for the VA person. Same thing, one good thing about the VA loan, you don't have to have, there's no down payment. So you just pay closing costs of that. Same thing with USDA, if anybody's interested in getting like a property that's in a rural area. USDA, you need a 580, not a 600. 580 for USDA, and there's no down payment for that as well, okay? And then jumbo loans for people who want to get those huge houses that are like in the $600,000 range. We'll get there one day, you know. Okay. But that's what the jumbo loans are for. We can go all the way up to $3 million for that. So any questions on any of those? There's also a document that I added that has those things on there for you guys. On your document, it says a 540 credit score for FHA and VA, which is true. We can go as low as a 540. There is a caveat to that. The caveat is if you have a score of 540 to 579, you need 10% down. So unless you got 10% down, and you got a couple of months of reserves, are anybody familiar with reserves, what that is? So reserves is basically, let's say your mortgage payment was $1,200 a month, which is not true. There's no such thing nowadays. So let's say your mortgage payment was $1,200 a month. Then you would basically take that $1,200 mortgage payment times however many months there are, that would be reserves. So basically having a little cushion, basically is what reserves is all about, just having cushion for that. And so that's pretty much it. Any questions on this? Okay. All right, and so we pretty much talked about all of this already as we were going through this process, the home loan process. Fill out your loan application. There's the home inspection that I think my friend back here will be talking about. Of course, you have to get your property appraised. Then there's home ownership insurance that we're talking about. A lot of times you can go to your own, whoever you deal with your car. Sometimes they'll bundle it and get a better deal on that. Then of course, then there's the loan processing, which is pretty much what you'll get once we get that contract. And then of course, the underwriters look at all your information. There's no need to hide anything, because I know a lot of people like, I don't want them all over my business and this and that. They're gonna know everything about you. So it's always good at the beginning of the process, if you're filling out that loan application, just be honest, put any and everything on there, because we're gonna find out regardless. And it's better that we find out in the beginning than in the middle and the end, because that can mess you up where you lose the contract because you're defaulted on the student loans. So if you do an FHA loan and you have a default on the student loans, guess what? You're going back to the drawing board, because the government is gonna say, if you defaulted on this student loan, we already gave you a loan for student loans, and you defaulted, so we sure ain't about to give you a loan for this house. So you have to pay all of that money and get yourself out of default in order to get an FHA loan. But there's always a way, more than one way to skin a cat. If you have really good credit, you can just turn that into a conventional loan and then you have to worry about that. Okay? So underwriting. Then there's closing, which is my favorite part. That's when you go to the attorney and you sign that piece of, it's about what, this thick? So exercise your hand the night before, put it in some Epsom salt or something, because you're going to be signing for quite an hour. Literally, no, signing. It's a lot, but that's the joy. That's the part that you're like, oh my God, I made it. After all of the stuff I've been through, I'm here. So that's probably everybody's favorite part. You close the day, close the tables, and after that, you get your keys, and you're good to go. You are good to go. I think that's it for me. Okay, this is what we already talked about before. You have papers on that, with do's and don'ts. Main thing, stay pre-approved. Don't do anything crazy. Again, if you don't know, call. One call, that's all. I think that's it. I hope, Lord. Okay. This tells you everything about my company, pretty much. We've been around for 60 years. That's the bulk of it. We got your back. Any questions you have, I'm always here. I'm always available. I do have cards I can pass out to you guys, but my information is also in each one of those documents that I sent you guys earlier. I hope that's it. Praise the Lord. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. Great information, good information. And after all of that, you're done with Jennifer. That's when she sends you back down. And that's when we pretty much, we already found everything. That's zero, actually. Find me first. So now, that's when we actually go shopping. Like I said, you're done with all that, got your pre-approval. Now we actually go out and go shopping. And some of the things you can do beforehand to help speed up the process a little bit. Kind of already know what area you want to be in, what subdivision you want to be in. Take a drive around at different times too, as far as those subdivisions. in the morning and afternoon to get the flow of traffic, get a feel for it, and finally decide, hey, this is an area, this is where I like, this is where I want to be, subdivision. Let me know. Like I said, we go out shopping. Now, buying a home is in 3 phases. I always say it's in 3 phases. The first one is when you and that seller agree to closing dates and contingencies. The second one is inspections, when you have to agree as far as inspection. And the third phase is the appraisal phase. Back to that first one, that's when you make that offer, sit down with you, write the offer. Also, 9 times out of 10, when you write that offer, I'm going to let Jennifer know too, hey, I'm going to send her that property. So it's a team effort. It's myself, the lender, and yourself also. It's a team effort. I'm going to send her the property, say, hey, you see anything I'm not seeing? Is this property okay? And if it is, we're going to make that offering. We'll talk about all the contingencies as far as if you need closing costs. We'll talk about home warranties. We'll talk about inspection period and the appraisal will be on there also. But the contingencies are we let the seller know, hey, there's a couple things we need to do first before we actually get make this sale complete. So we put the offer in, y'all, yourself, the buyer, and the seller agree on the offer. The next step is the inspection, getting the home inspected. That's when Peter's going to come up. That's what I'm going to call up Peter. He's going to talk about inspections real quick, and so you can let. Yeah, she got the spot.
Okay, hello. How you doing? My wife? Yes. Okay. My name's Peter Denman. I'm a home inspector. Made my company Stay Closer Look Inspections. We've been doing it for 22 years. We've done about 10,000 of these things. It's, and I'm going to kind of just tell you briefly about me and my business and kind of hit on some other things on the home inspection process. But the big reason why you want to get a home inspection, obviously, you don't want to buy a house that's got a lot of problems. You can even find this on a brand new house. So you get this stuff addressed up front, taken care of, and, you know, generally smooth sailing. But you want to know the conditions of your house when you're buying it. So structure, heating and air, electrical and plumbing. Big ticket items, the things that are going to cost you a lot of money. So say the house is beautiful, perfect, everything looks great, and then it's got a crawl space. You've all heard the story about crawl spaces. Someone bought it, flipped it, rehabbed it. Sometimes you find issues there. Sometimes, you know, the HVAC that's 30 years old, you know, that joker's getting ready to, you know, tank out. So you want to know about this stuff because, you know, you go through all these things with the mortgage process, the loans, this and that, and you're working hard towards this. You're in a house within a month, everything is going to, you know, start having this problem, the lights don't work, and that's not a good thing. So it's worth your money, your peace of mind. I don't like to find a lot of issues. I mean, I do, but I don't, because, you know, it's not great. I mean, you spend all this time and energy on this stuff, but you want someone that knows what they're doing. I want to kind of briefly talk about, I do rehab loans as well. I'm a consultant, it's FHA, VA, HUD, it's a government program. And it can be very good, and I think with these interest rates going up, you're going to see a lot more of these. And I've done quite a few of them throughout the past, but say you find a house that's in an area that you want, and it needs a lot of work. Well, you can tie all this stuff into your mortgage. So you can, even your living expenses, 6 months, you have contractors and whatnot that are working on this house, you know, in this time frame. Sometimes it takes longer, but you can kind of, instead of buying some house that's got a million issues, you can close and then have people working on it once you get in there. And I think this is going to be a very good thing for a lot of folks. And I think the government is going to kind of push these along a little bit more than they have. And like I said, there's about 4 or 5 in this whole Charleston area. There used to be about 10 or 12, I think. So, but they take, you know, it takes work, but it can be a very good thing. And I've seen it where they work out great. I just did one for a family in Ridgeville. They had an addition onto it. It turned out really nice. It made the house worth a lot more money, but you have to, as Jennifer could probably tell you, loan to value, you gotta meet certain qualifications, things such as this. But I would love to discuss that with you guys when I get done with this, I'd be more than happy to. But the home inspection, again, the big thing on this, figuring out what's going on with your house when you buy it. The little tiny picky things, we don't care about, some little nail pops. Dan and I just did a house the other day, it was 1933, I believe the house was. But they had redone the house. And it's good, they put a new roof on it, they updated the electrical, but there's still some issues in the crawl space. If you don't do a home inspection, you don't know about these things. But it wasn't such major things. See, some inspectors will say, oh, you gotta get a structural engineer, they scared the heck out of you. I tell you what's going on, but at the end of the day, I want you to get a house. I'm not sure, we want to see you guys in a house. We don't want you to spend more money on more home inspections. That's not the goal for me. I've been doing this long enough. Some of you guys do that. I don't do that. But I want to do a good job at fairly reasonable prices. I've done so long that I do these, the terms second, I don't have 10,000 up in all of this area. So it's a good business. But I find houses that have issues. I want you guys to know about it. I want you to understand what you're dealing with, how much you're getting cost. You don't want surprises. That's the big thing on this. But again, with the rates going up, getting back to these rehab loans, it can kind of balance itself out. And who knows, there may be some point in time where, like I said, the government is not going to let this housing industry just fall to pieces because the rate increase. I don't believe. And I think that, they're going to really start to maybe open some doors on these kind of things. I think they've already kind of been bringing some of these things about. I talked to FHA inspectors like myself, and I talked to one last night for about 2 hours. And he and I discussed all this stuff. So it can be a good thing. But that being said, I want to kind of let you guys ask any questions, because I don't want to hear myself talk. Please, ask me a question. Come on, one question. I know you can go. I can see it in your eyes.
What about the walls? What's inside of the walls? Like, do you have to knock down the walls?
Well, on an inspection, you just, on an older house, a lot of times they don't insulate. And then on top of that, the wiring and stuff, there's a lot of things that you can kind of telltale signs if there's going to be issues. Some people have FLIR cameras, which I don't use because I've seen it where they will find things that are not really there, and they, tear the wall out, they cost a lot of money, and, they freak out around, they kill the home. But like I said, I've done this for 22 years. I would have used one, but again, I think sometimes they can create more issues that aren't even there, and they, but as far as the walls go, it should be insulated, but there's, again, like in an older house like that, there may be some, but maybe not, but there's different ways that you can make the house more energy efficient. You can have more insulation under the attic, you can have vent fans, there's a lot of ways you can kind of save money on electric bills. I know how to do that stuff too. So you have to sure. Any more questions? That's it. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'll pass on some comments.
So back to our 3 phases. Phase 1 was getting our offer accepted. Phase 2 was the inspections. We passed the inspections. We negotiated the inspections. We know who's paying for what as far as the inspections. The next phase is getting the home appraised. Once it gets appraised, put some numbers out there. Let's say we put an offer in the home is $250,000. The appraiser comes in and say, okay, the home's only worth $230,000. You got a couple of options. So the appraiser said it's not worth, we'll put the offer in. So you as a buyer, you have an option of one, you can either make up the difference, you come up with $20,000 out of your own pocket. We go back and tell the seller, hey, our appraiser says it's only worth $230, we only want to get a loan for $230. So you can come down, or you can meet us somewhere in the middle, or you can just walk away from the deal. So those are a couple options when the appraiser comes in low. But after that, after we negotiate that and we pass the appraisal phase, we attend settlement and closing. Like Jennifer said earlier, get ready to sign a lot of paperwork. Then attorney needs to sit there and see you sign everything, and I'll probably be there to witness last mile matrix. That's it. That's my job in closing. And that is it. That's the whole 10-step buying process. Any questions as we're going? Okay. Next, I will show you two quick programs. Now, one is the Home for Heroes program, and not just veterans, but it's also the program.
Syndicated monthly tasks with today's increasing closing costs, mortgage rates, and tons of paperwork. And it can be much more difficult if your job involves sacrificing your time and energy for others. So where can you turn for real help? Homes for Heroes. Homes for Heroes' sole mission is to help our nation's heroes by providing significant savings during the real estate process. If you're a military service
For many of us, buying, selling, or refinancing a home can seem to be a daunting task with today's increasing closing costs, mortgage rates, and tons of paperwork. And it can be much more difficult if your job involves sacrificing your time and energy for others. Homes for Heroes. Homes for Heroes' sole mission is to help our nation's heroes by providing significant savings during the real estate process. If you're a military service member, active or veteran, a police officer, firefighter, first responder, healthcare worker, or a teacher, we're here to help you. Here's how it works. First, sign up at homesforheroes.com. You'll then be connected with your local affiliated realtor, lender, closing service, and other related services near you, all committed to reduce their fees to help you realize your homeownership dreams. There is no red tape, no extra paperwork, no fine print, and no hidden fees. Just think of what you could do with all the extra savings.
Great program.
Get those new appliances or buy that new couch you've been wanting. This program is our way of saying thank you to those
Great program.
that sacrifice so much on a daily basis to make our communities and our country a better place to live. Get started today at homesforheroes.com. Homes for Heroes, the nation's largest hero savings program, thanking heroes one home at a time.
Officer and teacher. But yeah, that's exactly how easy it is. No problems at all. Everybody likes the program. It's easy. After closing, probably 5 to 6 days after closing, that's when you get your check. It all depends on what their final sales price is. Right now, the ratio is for every $100,000 in price, you get $700 back. So let's say you purchase a $200,000 home, get a check after closing, $1,400 for you, just for being one of those buyers. That's good. Thanks. Land use program, speaking just briefly, how it works is a loan option to buy program. What it is, once you apply and get qualified, whatever price range they put you at as far as your home, let's say they qualify for a $250,000 home, they will pay cash for that home. $250,000, they'll go out and pay cash for the offering home and buy it for you, and then they'll put you in a lease period for about 2 years, 2-year lease period, and put you on track to buy it back. So that's one of the things they do as part of the program. Like I said, you get an application, they'll put you on the budget, they'll say, okay, you qualify for this amount, whatever amount may be. They will go out and make the offer for you, they'll purchase that home for you, whatever it is, whatever the unit is, and you will have 2 years to buy it back from them. But they're going to work with you within those 2 years. They're going to put you on a plan, and they're going to work with you throughout that 2 years to buy it back. So this is also a good program too. Just let me know if you want more information or more details, let me know how to get you that information. But this is a good program. I have a couple of clients that have been in it. When you do it, it's easy. I got one in there right now. Actually, it just started, it just started the process. They said it's an easy process, easy to go through, easy to work with, and it's not just in the state, also, we work in different states also. You have to fill up, you have to go to the website, and it will tell you what state they work with, we have different areas. So it's a good program. Yes. Next, we're gonna have Tia talking about life insurance.
How you doing? Good, how are you? I am Montreal Browning. I'm doing life insurance, not just agent, but I'm a broker. I work for Family First Insurance. I'm working in the business, but I'm working. I do decreasing mortgage insurance. I do life insurance, I do annuities. If you want like a good plan for your family, just in case something happens to you, you can protect. I'm not gonna keep y'all long, but at the same time, I'm dealing with a lot of people that take life insurance very lightly. Life insurance is extremely important to your family. You know, people on here, businesses and stuff, they're not insured. So we gotta really get on the ball with getting life insurance for our families and protecting ourselves. So I'm gonna leave y'all, here's my number up here, but I'm gonna also say it out loud, it's 843-597-1511. And call me and I'll get you hooked up. If you have any, when it comes to like your health, if you have any health issues, you know, since I'm a broker, if one insurance company declines you, I can put you on that. You know, so just call me and I'll get you good. All right, y'all good day.
Any question for Jennifer? Anybody want to go back to the application process, finance process, where here's their information. Everybody's information that spoke today also is in your folders. Contact, if not, just let me know. We'll give it to you. And this was Peter's information. A closer look home inspection, definitely check them out on the internet, different social media platforms. Also, his information in folders and more. And of course, this is us. Again, everybody's number, names, and then contact information. Need anything, let us know. Contact us whenever. And that is all we have for you there. That's it. I told y'all to keep it. Appreciate you coming out. Thank you again. If you want more food and drinks, please.
Yes.